silence for 1 minute, because we have been silenced for too long. And then everything you all want to say, you can start saying it after that 1 minute. And value all NHS workers, nurses, doctors, paramedics, midwives, OGPs, radiologists, care assistants, clerical staff, domestic staff, portering, estates, cleaning staff, to name a few. And each day of this pandemic, we woke up ready to risk our lives. Many of us have sadly lost colleagues, loved ones, friends and patients as a result of COVID-19. I'd like to make a special mention to ICU and HDU staff, paramedics and all staff who serve directly at the front line of this pandemic. I'd also like to show appreciation for the students who stepped up to support us at a time of great uncertainty and confusion. Your commitment to caring for others, even at a risk to yourself, shows great bravery, and we're glad to have you alongside us.
Boris Johnson, shame on you! We deserve a pay rise too! Boris Johnson, shame on you! We deserve a pay rise too!
When Boris Johnson, on his ITU discharge, named the nurses Jenny McGee and Louis Pitama for giving him excellent care, I felt like maybe Boris Johnson understands us. He understands now what it's like to be that vulnerable patient, to be absolutely terrified of losing your life to this coronavirus. And then it's somehow, a lot of us are feeling quite left out actually at the 3% pay rise that was offered to other public sector workers. It feels like a bit of a kick in the face.
3 years ago today, GMB members here turned down the 3-year pay deal. They seen it for what it was. It was an absolute farce. The longer service, the more you were punished, the less you were rewarded. No matter what skills you develop, no matter what knowledge you increase, pay does not match it.
The past decade of Tory austerity has seen NHS staff pay cut by 20% in real terms, just like that of local government workers.
NHS staff, we absolutely need a pay rise, but we're not the only ones. Social care sector workers, often on minimum wage, we need to be supporting them as well. And frankly, the pay deal for other public sector workers is just not good enough. Many workers are losing their jobs, taking pay cuts. We need to absolutely stick together. This fight is for all workers.
This public health crisis has seen millionaires like Richard Branson bailed out, while things many of us have campaigned for years: renationalised railways, rough sleepers accommodated, both of which happened during this crisis. Because none of those are impossible, are they? They're about political priorities, and so is fair pay for NHS workers.
We are the workers!
Mighty workers!
Mighty workers!
Fighting for our patients!
Fighting for our patients!
Fighting for healthcare!
Fighting for healthcare!
Fighting for justice!
Fighting for justice!
Fighting for healthcare!
Fighting for healthcare!
I'm angry that NHS workers sacrifice so much of their physical and mental health but are recognised so little by our government. Many staff are being deployed to areas they've never worked in before, including some who haven't worked clinically for some time or are newly qualified. They were faced with looking after multiple critically ill patients, many of whom required complex levels of care. Many NHS workers went without breaks and were unable to go home until long after their shifts ended late. Many NHS workers didn't make it home at all, forgoing seeing their own families and living elsewhere in order to keep the people they cared about at home safe. Patients too were kept from their families, and those who died often did so without seeing their own families by their side. NHS workers instead became their family, holding their hand as they took their last breath, making sure they didn't die alone.
The fight is not just around pay, it's for the whole NHS that we want. We've seen incredibly high levels of privatisation of services, of companies getting contracts without any tendering. without any scrutiny. Currently, billions are being paid to private companies to provide services that many NHS workers could provide. We've seen an utter shambles and scandal with PPE. We've seen the same thing with test and trace. We've seen the same thing with lab contracts and lab services. Shockingly, we've seen the same thing with the Nightingale Hospital. Hardly any patients treated there, that masses of public money given to the private sector to provide that service. Government has just voted for the NHS being on the table in trade deals.
Defend the NHS! We are the NHS! Defend the NHS! We are the NHS!
This has been nurses-led. It's not union-led at this time, it's nurses-led. And it is up to the unions to join and support you. Not the other way around. Remember, you are the members of the union. Any union, you run that union. What you say and what you ask for, it is their job to deliver it in the best way possible.
I want change. I want change that recognises that NHS workers are critical to the UK. NHS staff have had their wages frozen, capped and cut for the last 10 years, and are being told they don't deserve fair pay because this is a vocation.
Unfortunately, you're not going to get offered much more than 2.5, 2.7% by this tight-fisted government, so you're going to have to fight for it.
Now is the time for you to contact your unions en masse. Tell them how you're feeling. Tell them what a realistic pay rise would look like to you.
If you're not getting balloted, if you're not getting taken in the direction you like, then tell them. Do not sit back and accept it.
NHS workers are leaving due to huge workloads, unsafe staffing ratios, low pay and lack of support. We say no to public sector pay inequality!